Hospitals are built to save lives. Every hallway holds a story, every room a fragile heartbeat. But no one could have expected this. At 3:12 a.m., the sliding glass doors at Pine Ridge General opened, and in walked a wild wolf, not growling, not threatening, but calm, focused. In its mouth it carried something wrapped in soft cloth, something small, something alive. Nurses stood frozen. Security was too stunned to act. And then the wolf did something no one could explain. It walked to the center of the ER waiting room, gently placed the bundle on the ground, and locked eyes with the staff. What was inside that cloth would leave every person in the room speechless. When one brave nurse opened it, her knees buckled, and tears fell down her face. This isn't just a story about survival. It's a story about instinct, about love, about the way the most unexpected creatures can change everything we thought we knew. If you believe animals can feel compassion, loyalty, even love, hit the like button. And before the truth is revealed, tell us in the comments, what do you think brought this wolf to the hospital? Pine Ridge General wasn't a big city hospital. It served a small mountain town surrounded by dense forest and rugged trails. That night the ER was quiet. No emergencies, just a few nurses finishing up paperwork. The radio played softly in the background. Then the motion doors opened. A large gray wolf, damp from dew, stepped inside. It wasn't snarling. It wasn't afraid. It simply walked, carefully, step by step across the tile floor, its paws silent, until it stood in the middle of the lobby. In its jaws was a bundle wrapped in what looked like a baby blanket. The staff froze. A security guard reached slowly for the panic button, but stopped when he saw the wolf's eyes, calm, not aggressive, almost human in their expression. The head nurse. On duty that night was Clara Henderson. With over 25 years in emergency care, she had seen it all. But nothing prepared her for this. She stepped forward, gently speaking to the animal, hoping not to startle it. The wolf never flinched. It slowly lowered the bundle onto the floor, took 2 steps back, and sat. Clara bent down. Her hands trembled as she reached for the blanket. The room went silent. Inside was a newborn baby. Pale, cold, but breathing. The staff gasped. One nurse began to cry. Another whispered, "How is this even possible?" The baby looked no older than a few days, its skin pink and soft, but with dirt on its face and leaves in its hair. There were small scrapes on its arms, but no serious injuries. And then, just as silently as it had come, the wolf turned around. With one final glance at the staff, it walked out the same way it entered, into the night. Doctors rushed in. The baby was quickly taken into care, warm blankets, oxygen, gentle cleaning. The vital signs were weak, but stable. Everyone in the room knew. If that baby had stayed in the forest even one more hour, it might not have survived. The questions came flooding in. Who was the child? Where were the parents? And more importantly, how did a wild wolf carry a baby through the forest without harming it? The story made its way to the local news within hours. Forest rangers were brought in, animal control, local police. CCTV footage was reviewed again and again, each time met with the same disbelief. The image of a gray wolf walking into a hospital carrying a baby was beyond explanation. Then came the calls. Dozens of locals claimed to have seen the wolf in the days before. Always alone, always silent. One hiker swore he saw the animal watching over something hidden beneath a fallen tree. Another said she saw the wolf carrying food in its mouth but not eating it. Rangers began to connect the dots. This wasn't a random animal. This wolf had been guarding the baby. Then, 3 days later, a couple from a neighboring town came forward. Tearful, exhausted, and missing their newborn. They had been hiking near the ridge when wild boars startled them. In the chaos, they dropped their gear, and tragically, their baby, still strapped to a carrier, was separated in the panic. They searched for hours, then days, assuming the worst, until they saw the news. The child was theirs. No doubt. The identification matched, and so did the tear-shaped birthmark on the baby's shoulder. The room where they were reunited was filled with silence, tears, and disbelief. The baby reached up to touch its mother's face. And in that moment, there were no questions, only awe. Over the next few weeks, researchers and trackers pieced together what they believed had happened. The wolf, identified as a female loner, previously seen on camera traps, had been living in the ridge alone for nearly a year. She had no known pack, no offspring of her own, but she had territory. It's believed she found the baby just hours after the parents were separated. The child had been left beneath a tree, wrapped tightly in its carrier but exposed to the cold night air. And instead of harming the baby, the wolf lay beside it, guarded it, kept it warm. Evidence of disturbed soil nearby suggested she had even dragged in brush to create shelter. Over the course of 3 days, the wolf was seen by multiple hikers, but always alone. Each time she seemed to be watching, waiting, guarding something. Then somehow on that final night, sensing the baby growing weaker, she picked it up gently, wrapped in part of the blanket the parents had left behind, and walked nearly 4 miles through the forest toward the nearest scent of human life, the hospital. Wolves are known to be intelligent, deeply instinctual animals. But this something beyond instinct. This was empathy. This was love. Clara, the nurse who first opened the blanket, later said, "In her eyes, I didn't see a predator. I saw a protector." Act 4, the emotional resolution. 13, End. The baby recovered fully thanks to both the medical staff and the unlikely guardian who kept him alive. As for the wolf, she was seen one last time by a wildlife sanctuary team who captured and relocated her for safety. She now lives in a protected forest reserve where she roams peacefully. The staff named her Guardian, and even now they say she seems to linger near the nursery pens and as if drawn to the sound of young life. Back at Pine Ridge General, a small plaque was mounted in the lobby. It reads, "In honor of Guardian, who reminded us all that love knows no species." Clara still visits that plaque every week. Sometimes she leaves a flower. Other times, she just stands quietly and remembers. She says the moment the wolf walked in was the closest thing to a miracle she's ever witnessed. Because sometimes, the world doesn't send a hero in uniform. Sometimes, it sends one with fur, fangs, and the softest heart of all.